Hello friends. Welcome to my crochet channel Blessing Crochet. Today, we will be showing how to weave this beanie. From newborns to breast size. You would like to know how to weave it in all sizes. For your family, I have this beanie for 3 hours. Took me this beanie. Then let's start. And for that I am going to show you this outfit. This design is the front part. You will look like this. One way and the rest upwards. All this outfit is going to look the same way for you. All to one side. And so here is bent to look very, very nice. And on the upside down side. The whole beanie will face to one side. In diagonal, what do you think, friends? This outfit even Santa wants it, friends. So at home, 3 hours of your time will take you. Knit this nice outfit. Now let's see how much it is. What weighs, because it is always important to know. The pom-pom is in this case performed with the same material. For this project I have spent 212 g. For this project, I will use this type of material. Is Cheney. Is number 5 and I will be using this one. In white and in burnt red. And a little hook this time of 4 millimeters. I'm going to knit a teenage hat at home. Leave me your comment and let's get started. I am going to start on this occasion. Doing or securing my first stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13 chain stitches in total. If you are going to do it for children from without, in this case of men, up to 5 years will be 13 chain stitches. If you are going to do it from 5 years to 9 months, I recommend you to leave 11 chain stitches, and if you are going to do it for smaller children, I recommend leaving 9 chain stitches. Yes, so that you get 1 less stitch in total. Let's pass our first stitch. And in the stitch that follows, I'm going to start knitting him single stitch. This time I will be weaving a single stitch for each chain stitch. In this case I wear 3 single stitches. And I need to have 12 in total. 1 for each space 5. 6 7. 8 9. 10. 11 and 12. Now this is the last stitch. I am going to hold it. I make a chain stitch, and in this last stitch that I will take only half of the chain stitch. As we do on previous hats. Only half of the chain stitch, look at the front. And we make the single stitch. Half of the chain stitch. Single stitch, half chain stitch. Single stitch and single stitch to the last stitch. And the last stitch is going to be differently. Half of the chain stitch, single stitch stitch. So far I have 11 single stitch. And this stitch that fits me here. Instead of taking only half of the chain stitch, I'm going to take it from here in full so that they are. In this case, to see, let's take it well. There it is to be 2 halves of the chain stitch. And I knit the single stitch, a chain stitch. I take half the chain stitch. Only half of it, and I'm going to weave single stitch. And single stitch now. For our friends who are at home, and that they will probably find it difficult to weave it. Because I don't know, you can't see very well maybe the stitches. Okay, let's do the following. Here last stitch. Always remember to take it complete. And make our single stitch. And this is how it will look like. This is a round. This one looks a little higher. It is round 2 and this is round number 3. Now I have here this. Then it will be the same process. I have already made my height chain stitch. This is the last stitch I take half and single stitch. Half of the chain stitch. Single stitch, half chain stitch. Single stitch and so on. Here my thread is already getting tangled, friends and friends. Okay, look, I will continue in the middle. Everything is going to be single stitch. And the last stitch. We take it complete. So this nice hat. You will also be able to do it with regular wool. If you do not have this type of material, do not worry, do it with a regular wool. Here is the last stitch. It should not be lost, otherwise there will be decreases. Here I have the 2 parts of the chain stitch. And we make the single stitch now to close. Now I am going to tell you how much we are going to knit each size, but first I want to show you how we are going to close it. Here I am going to pass the first stitch on one side of the other. And I make a slip stitch. I step aside of the other. To see here. And I do the sliding. Oh, and I slide. So we will slide until we close the whole round. I already have the amount I need. Look here, I have it on the side. The amount I need, but as it is easier for me to show them to you here. So that at home, all our friends see how easy we are going to knit it. And then get excited with the other material goes here. That's our last stitch. I will take it complete. And I do the slip stitch. And to begin with, let's make our chain stitch and in these spaces. Look at friends in these spaces. There we can weave our single stitch. Here we have the following space. Single stitch next. Single stitch, this I am doing here is the same thing I am going to do with this other. Yes, I'm just giving them a little encouragement. So that you can see it at home, look for example at this. This round which is embossed here has a space. And this round you see below. Here you can see your space, look at this. But if I turn it around, on the other side is going to be a round in relief, yes. Then those on this side are at the bottom. On the other side are reliefs. And those that are reliefs as on this side, if I round it on the other side, are at the bottom. Here in the single stitch relief on the one below. Single stitch relief. The next stitch below. Or the next round, you can really see it below. And the one you see underneath. We have already had the most entertaining time, friends and friends. This is the relief. And this one is underneath. Do this I just did here, I am going to do it here. In this part, yes. But first let's see how much we are going to leave for. The size you need, look at. Let's check. These are the sizes. These are the rounds and this is paradise. What you have to measure, the little head of the person you are going to knit it from. For the men we are going to leave 82 rounds. Which is 55 centimeters in diameter. If you are weaving it with a different wool. And with a different hook. Guided by the quantity of the reflection of the person's head. Okay, then, for women we are going to leave 80 rounds, which are 52 centimeters. For juvenile, 78 rounds, which is 51 centimeters from 5 to 10 years old. 76 rounds, which is 48 centimeters. 2 to 5 years, 74 rounds. 45 centimeters, here is 48 and here is 45, okay. From 18 to 24 months. 70 rounds, which is 43 centimeters from 9 to 17 months. 66 rounds and 39 centimeters. From 6 to 9 months, 62 rounds and 38 centimeters from 3 to 6 months. 58 rounds and 34 centimeters in diameter. And for newborns, 52 rounds and 32 centimeters in diameter. Yes. This is what the elastic has to measure. Then we will continue. This one does not have as much elasticity as the lanita can be said. Then I will do the same process. The same process of going through. In this part, as I had told you. Step and slip true. We pass and slide. Step and slide, step and slide. There at home. Leave me a comment if this video is being useful to you. And remember to share it, so that this beautiful art does not get lost. Knitting friends. For everyone to start weaving. And give hearts, through this beautiful art. We already have here the elastic, and now we are going to do what I told you about. A stitch chain. And in this space we are going to knit a single stitch. I move on to the next round, single stitch. Next round, single stitch and single stitch. And so I will continue to weave a single stitch for each space, and in this case, you must have the same amount of single stitch left that the rounds you have do. For example, if you left 80 rounds, you must have 80 single stitch. If you left 78 rounds, you have to have 78 single stitch. I will complete this round. I am about to finish my round. I'm going to stop by and make him a slip stitch, a chain stitch, and we cut. Now let's move on to the other color. And we will do the following. Here where I ended up. I'm going to stop by and look at this material. I got it a little thicker than the other one. I recommend that both be the same size. But we're going to keep weaving it anyway. With hook of the same size, yes, of number 4. I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, and 4 chain stitches, and I'm going back here. In this space I pass a stitch without knitting. YNL stitch anterior. U. A double hook. Now we pass 2 stitches. I'm going to take this one with me, this little piece of wool. To lose it. Step 1, 2, and in the number 3 I knit a double crochet. A chain stitch, and I pass this stitch without knitting. And in the previous stitch I knit a double crochet. Step 1, 2, and in the number 3 I knit a double crochet. A stitch chain. And return. I pass a stitch without knitting, and in the previous stitch, double crochet. Step 2 stitches without knitting, 1, 2. And on the next stitch I knit a double crochet. Pass the stitch that I went through without knitting, and in the previous one. The first stitch we go through without knitting. I do the double crochet. Step 2. Double crochet. A chain stitch, and the first stitch I pass without knitting. There I come back and knit the double crochet. And we will do this until we complete the round. Once we have finished our round, I will do the following. Look here, in this part we had 4 chain stitches. I'm going to pass that's the stitch. This is the first chain stitch, and in the chain stitch that follows, I'm going to do the slip stitch. Now here I have a chain stitch. I'm going to slide to where I have half of it. Here the chain stitch, yes, 1 2 3 chain stitches on the third chain stitch. We place a marker here in this third chain stitch. And I'm going to make one more chain stitch. I will return, and here, where do I have this previous stitch in relief? I'm going to take it and weave the double crochet in relief. And when I close, I am going to close here where this chain is stitch. I need a free chain stitch. I am now going to move on to the middle of the next reason, where I have the chain stitch. I leave a double crochet and a chain stitch. And I'm going back for this stitch. If you notice, this was already the beginning of our stitch. This double crochet is woven here in the middle, then it corresponds to this one that follows. But we return for the relief stitch and knit double crochet. I'm going to pass this one is already woven. I move on to the one next in the middle, where I have the chain stitch, double crochet, a chain stitch, and return for this relief stitch. And knit double crochet. Nice and very easy to knit. We move on to the next. This one is already in the one next, double crochet, a stitch chain, and back for the embossed stitch and double crochet. In relief, this must be done to complete our round number 2. In red. I want to show you, friends, look here. I am about to finish my round. I already this stitch from here. Now remember this one I have here, okay? In this one we need knit a double crochet with a chain stitch and back by the previous stitch and weave it in relief. Now we are done. All stitches are already taken. I'm going to stop by where this stitch is. Here I retire. Unslip stitch. And all rounds from now on, we are going to knit them anyway. I pass in the middle of the chain stitch where the chain stitch slip stitch is. 1 2 3 chain stitches. If you want, you can leave the marker, or you can leave it without the marker, as it becomes easier for you. We make a stitch chain and we return for the relief stitch. Yes, here we have the crossing. The one above is the one we are going to take. Then we take the embossed stitch, double crochet. I already took this stitch right. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next crossing. Here in the middle where the chain stitch is. Here is the chain stitch, a double crochet, a chain stitch, and return by the relief stitch, and we knit double crochet. Yes, then let's move on to the next one. Here you can see the crossing. Here in the middle where we have the chain stitch, we knit a double crochet, a separating chain stitch, and return for the relief stitch. And this hat is looking simply beautiful. I will continue like this all round, and I'm coming back in case any friend has any questions. I want to show you I have already finished my round, and just in case a friend has any doubts, I already this. Let's knit this last one in the middle of the chain stitch, double crochet, a chain stitch, and return for the embossed stitch. And it happened here where I have this chain stitch. I will remove the marker. I knit my slip stitch. I go halfway through where I have a chain stitch left. 1 2 3 4 chain stitches. I am no longer going to place the marker on it. Not necessary. As I told you at the beginning, return for the previous stitch in relief. And you saw friends, I passed this one is already taken. I move on to the following double crochet chain stitch and return to for my relief stitch. And that's how it's going to be. I quite like the way the result is looking. It also makes my color super elegant. Perfect color and perfect texture. For the Santa hat, I will go ahead and return to start doing the part of the decreases. If you are liking this video too, don't forget to subscribe, activate the notification bell, is totally free, and leave as support a like. You can also support me by joining here. To the channel, just click below where it says join. And enjoy the benefits. I want to show you friends up to this point. The progress I have. Let's see how many rounds I 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8 rounds. How much it measures at the moment. Let's see only the color red measures. Or red measures 11 centimeters and complete measures 18. But as I am going to bend this part upwards, I have to measure it. Where my fold up is going to be from. 12 centimeters. Yes, there is 12 centimeters there in the house. If you are going to knit for one size, in this case, which would be more or less juvenile, let's leave him. I'm getting over it, my friends. Let's see 12 centimeters, we said true. Okay, let's put these here. This part of here are going to be for the part of the tissue in the rectum and then the decreases in, then juvenile 12. For the ladies, we are going to leave 13 centimeters. For the Argentines, we are going to leave 15 centimeters, and from 5 to 10 years old we will leave 11 centimeters. For 2 to 5 years we will leave 11 centimeters. And we will leave 10 centimeters. 10. 10. 9. Why 9? Yes, then here newborns 9 centimeters, 3 to 6 months 9 centimeters. From 6 to 9 months 10 centimeters, from 9 17 10 centimeters, from 18 to 24 months 10 centimeters, from 2 to 5 years 11 centimeters, from 5 to 10 years 11, juvenile 12. Woman 13 and grandmother 15. And let's start with the decreases. The same process applies to everyone. Here I am going to make the closure. A chain stitch passes over the chain stitch. And on the next chain stitch I make the slip stitch. Watch out because here comes the decrease. Step here. I make a slip stitch and here we start, right? Okay, so on this occasion, from this one I will go to the middle of the next one. Of the following reason. And I make a slip stitch. And this stitch I have here I am going to disappear 1 2 3 4 chain stitches, this one I'm going to disappear. Therefore I have to return here to this. And knit a stitch in relief. Yes, now I have already taken this one. This first stitch or this first motif. I'm going to move on to the next one. I knit a double crochet in the chain stitch. And remember this one we are going to reduce. I move to this space. And you in relief. I move on to the next one. Double crochet chain stitch Here I did not make the chain stitch, friends. I'm going to go back a little bit through the chain stitch. It seems to you here, look at chain stitch. Now I do take the relief. And here in this case I am disappearing this. This one I have here. Now it does happen to me here. We pass where it is. The chain stitch, the stitch. This space is already woven a chain stitch. And return for my relief. I move on to the next one. In the middle where I have the chain stitch. A chain stitch and back there it is. Ready? Then here is going to disappear this. This little fringe that you see here is the one we are going to disappear. I will complete my entire round. I am about to finish my round, look at this. Remember that this is the one we went through, right? Here we have the crossover, okay? I'm going to stop by. Here I have already taken it, and in this I work it by knitting the double crochet, a chain stitch and back. By the relief stitch. I'm going to spend time in this space. I'm going to do the same thing, I stop by. Where do I have the chain stitch? I'm going to stop by where I have the chain stitch space. Con unslip stitch. I move on to the next space, to the next reason. Slip stitch 1 2 3 4 chain stitches. And this one I'm going to disappear. I have already disappeared this one. Now we are going to disappear this other one, right? Then I'm going to stop by and ignore this space. I pass the relief stitch. Now I have taken this stitch and I will move on to the next one. Double crochet a chain stitch and back through the relief stitch. I move on to the next stitch. This one I already took in the following one. Double crochet chain stitch. And return for the relief stitch. And once again here we have the beginning. And we already have these two decreases. These two who are going to be left on the back side. So it won't be noticed, okay? I am going to complete my whole round the same process, my friends. The only thing we are here decreasing is 3 stitches per round. Yes, 3 stitches. 3 stitches to make this go away. And we are getting as if we were in Paquito. I will lead this round. Here I have finished again. We are only missing this stitch. Step. A stitch chain. And return. By the relief. And here I pass a chain stitch. In the chain stitch previous slide. So when I pass here halfway through I slip. I pass to the other side. Slip. And we will disappear. This part is a little bit open here. Don't worry, look. We upload with these 4 chain stitches again and return. We are going to diminish this truth now, look at. We were decreasing first this east and now this. So we are going to spend it like this one. I move on to the previous one. I make a relief stitch. And then I move on to this stitch that follows. Yes, because this one is already taken, look at this one. This crossing I have already taken. Then I will move on to the next one. Double crochet chain stitch and I'll be back for this one I have here. This is the one we are going to pass. And when we finish this round. Look here we cross, I go to the next stitch. Same process. I'm going to do it a little faster because they already know about the crosses, don't they? Then here. We always do the same process. When I in this case finished this round. The one I'm going to decrease is already going to be this one. Yes, then we start by decreasing 1 2 3. Then we will decrease this one and then this one. And so we will decrease. And this is how it will become. In the part On the side of the head, okay, on the back of the neck. Here we will be decreasing. We are going to do this. The long one, I think I'm going to be a little ahead of the curve. It seems to you. To see how it closes in each round. Does not close here very quickly in this case. But it does close. Because what we need is to lengthen it. To lengthen what is necessary, because we want it in beak right. Or as close as possible to the beak, okay. Then you have seen how to make the decreases. Will be totally the same. A few rounds away. And in a little while I will be back. I want to show you, friends, the advance that has. Look at me, it's going to look more or less like this. Here you can start to see after the rounds. Remember that down here we have more. And in this case it has remained like this. This is the front part and this is the back part. There at home you will stay as well as diagonally. This part from where you started to reduce it. But it's going to start like this. And on the other side. So now if you put it in half, you will get a design like this. Where some are going to go there. And one is going to be facing the front. Because I already have the long one. And here in this part one tried to do the most possible length. And I can't do any more rounds here. Therefore, it is time to place the pom-pom part. I'm going to leave the pom-pom at the bottom. Here in the first comment. Or in the description box. Friends, for future videos, where is the description box? Is located below where the title is. Below. There is a little word where it says more with 3 little dots. Click there. And we'll send you an information where it goes. You will find the link on how to knit the pom-pom. Or rather how to perform the pom-pom. Here it is time to glue it. To catch it. As I leave 2 strands here in this part. In fact, I left them very long on this occasion. But they can be cut right then. We place in this part. First I found myself here in the center. This little piece of wool, and we can leave it inside. And it won't be noticed. Or you can lose it. Turn it around and lose it as it is now. In the east the wool is so hairy. Well, it won't be noticeable then. I'm here in this part. This is the end. I will pass to one side. And then on this side. In the opposite direction. So, and here we just throw. And ready, we can tie and cut then. I did it with the same material. Look, we have to go down this way. All the way down there it is. And here you make 1, 2 or 3 knots depending on how it goes. What do you think? I'm really liking the way it turned out. And I did it in just a little while. Because this beanie has to come out quickly. Guess what? Tomorrow the owner has to use it like this. I am delighted to have shared with all of you this nice tutorial at home. Leave me your comment what you thought. It was easy for you. Difficult, I don't know. I will be reading your comments. And I found a heart. For you I say, goodbye. Remember that there are more. Even more beanies like this super beautiful, friends. This hat has become so elegant that even Santa wants it. So I say, goodbye. Hope you liked it. A super charming new design. See you next time. And I thank you very much that you have accompanied me today. By the way, on the front side it will look like this. And on the back side. It will look like this. It was a pleasure to have been with you today. See you next time.